afternoon, students. Depending on where you are in South Africa is the afternoon. Today, I'm going to share information with B.Ed Foundation Phase teaching practice students that are at level 4. The module code is teaching practice 4. And then the code is TPF3704. As I said, this is a module orientation just for you to understand what the module is about and what is required of you. We are also going to get into assessment 1, which I thought I should combine with this presentation so that at the end of the day, you know what is required. I am your module lecturer. My name is Dr. Manyaka. I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Early Childhood Education and Development. Here is my email, and I'll respond to it as much as I can, but within 8 hours to 16 hours from then, you should expect that the turnaround time will be at least 48 hours. I know I do it earlier, but you need to know the required turnaround time so that you don't get impatient. The presentation is going to look at communication. We're going to look at the purpose of the module. We're going to look at the different responsibilities from yourself and also for the different departments. I'm going to talk a little bit about this because it seems that we do not understand. And then we've got module outcomes. And also we're going to look at assessments. As I said, I'll stress a little bit on assessment 1. How should you communicate with us? How should I communicate with you as students? You can contact your lecturer through, we have our learning management system where I've created query folder where you are able to ask questions, and there are 2 forums inside. One looks at generic questions, others look at content. Make sure that you post at the right forum so that we can respond. And you are also allowed to respond if other students are asking questions that you've been assisted with. And then you can call, but just know that as you call, most of the times we are in meetings and workshops. It's usually easier to email because we also have a track record of our communication. But if you really have to call, make sure that it's within the working hours, which will be from 8 to 4 o'clock. I already spoke about discussion forums. There are more discussion forums. And you also have yours where you can just talk to your fellow students, because studying alone, sometimes it gets lonely. However, when you write an email or you call me, make sure you include your name, your student number, and the module code, especially on the email. You are going to get to delay progress to get your answers. If you don't include the module and I go back to you and I said, I'm going to say which module is this, you can imagine that will take a lot of time. What is the purpose of teaching practice? Teaching practice, the purpose of this module in particular, but teaching practice in general, is it gives you an opportunity to acquaint yourself with formal teaching. Because when you read and you read your theoretical modules or whatever module that you are reading, you are not seeing the practice of it. But when you do your practice, you go to school where you get acquainted with the formal teaching. You are also going to be in a practical situation, which is the school, where you are going to be expected to carry all the responsibilities that the teachers are carrying, including extramural activities, meetings, so that you get a full understanding of what happens in the environment as you are ready to go next year and teach. It gives you an opportunity again to apply your theoretical knowledge. Let's say, for instance, for example, is FMT 3701 or is FPT 3701, you do get those theories about teaching, let's say in FPT 3701, but you are not able to apply them. You don't even know how much you understand because you don't have an opportunity to apply them. But the teaching practice module allows you to go and do that and so that you apply what you have learned in a real situation. It focuses on practical application of various teaching and learning strategies. I always say to you as my students, the other students that I was with, that you should be able to apply the latest teaching and learning strategies. If you find yourself teaching the way you were taught, something is not right, because the way they taught me has evolved. I must be able to apply strategies. So this is the opportunity to do that. The roles and responsibilities, as I said, you should know which department is responsible for what, and also that who supports you as a learner. We have got a teaching practice office. A teaching practice office is looking at all the administrative issues that you deal with. That will include placement, getting a supervisor. Even when we have a challenge with the link, we had an orientation on the 4th of March. Those who attended, we tried to explain these roles and responsibilities. But with you at level 4, I really get surprised, because every day I get a lot of emails that are saying my principal didn't get the pop-up, or this and this didn't happen. I expect at this level, you know who's responsible for the administrative part of your teaching practice. I don't even have the link. I don't have the access. I don't even know how it operates. Also remember, when you write, you correspond with teaching practice office. Focus on your module, on the coordinators, teaching practice coordinators in your province. I also posted the details for Mr. Mangwadu, who's there, delegated and dedicated to help you as students for TPF3704. So there's no reason at all for me to get emails asking about placements and supervision. Also, as I said, you should know who's responsible for what. When it comes to your TP module coordinator, which is your TP primary lecturer, like myself, then here we are talking content. If there's a lesson that you are not clear about, even though we know that we got them from other lecturers, I'm your contact person, you talk to me. Then if there's a need, I can ask clarity from the theory lecturer if I'm not the one. And then you also have UNISA supervisors that are going to supervise you. I can't emphasize this enough. This year, the structure of your teaching practice portfolios have changed. 30% of your marks are going to come from supervision. So you've got lecturers as supervisors, you've got external supervisors that are contracted by UNISA. Make sure that you look for them. They mustn't look for you, because the 30% is going to affect you. What does it mean? It means that 70% will come out of their portfolios as summative assessments. The 30% will also form part of your year mark. So already just by submitting your portfolios, all you have is 70% between the two portfolios. So if you are not supervised, you've already greatly compromised your pass mark, or completely your ability to pass. You've got a mentor at the school. Sometimes students feel that their mentor is the HOD who's responsible for them. But if you are in grade 1, that grade 1 teacher for that time is your mentor. They must be the one who advise you, who are giving you feedback about your teaching, and also complete the mentorship, the mentor or teacher evaluation form in your portfolio. I'm going to repeat, the administration, like placements, we no more have the hard copies of DSAR 25 and DSAR 27. It's a link. All of those and supervision is the teaching practice office responsibilities. Who are we talking about? The coordinators in the different provinces. And Mr. Mangwadu, where you don't get Joy, go to announcements, you get his email. And content and assessments are the responsibility of lecturers like myself. Let's look a little bit at the specific outcomes and assessment criteria. I won't dwell too much. I'll look at the specific outcome. As a student that is now at level 4, you are expected to demonstrate understanding of key ideas and debates on issues related to teaching practice. We have an upcoming symposium on teaching practice on will to for the whole university. But if you are invited, do come, because you're going to experience views from different colleges, and also a panel from SEDU that will be talking about teaching practice in College of Education, including what you are doing and the challenges thereof. It's a very interesting debate where there will be also CHE presenting. I won't go so much into assessment, but you should be able to discuss and evaluate issues related to teaching practice. And also you must be able to discuss and evaluate other issues as well, looking at diversity that exists in sides of practice. There is diversity. If you can check your lesson plan, there's somewhere where we talk about differentiation. We'll talk about a lot when we are going to discuss the lesson template. The other one, you should be able to adopt and be flexible in adapting a variety of roles and strategies in response to changing learner and learning needs. As I said, you mustn't be stuck with what the way you were taught. Teaching has evolved. You can look at the role of ICT. It has changed altogether. It has changed the way we teach. So we expect you, from this outcome, we expect you to be abreast and know that information. How are you going to be assessed? We should be able to discuss and analyze effective classroom practice that are based on sound understanding of diverse learners. You must be aware now that we are no more going to have schools that are called special schools. Your classroom should be able to accommodate all learners with different learning abilities and diverse in culture, religion, and all those. So you need to keep yourself abreast of that. And also you should be able to evaluate issues that are related to effective classroom practice while you take cognizance of roles assumed and position taken with regard to effective classroom practice that are justified by appropriate reference to theory, policy, and observed practices and personal experiences. You don't come here empty. You've got experiences that you came with, either what you expressed, you experience as a teacher. You are able to express, this is how I was taught, this is what I think went well, or this is how I think policy supported my teaching, and this is the policy that I think I'll apply in the theories that I've learned. And another specific outcome is identify and justify varied strategies for effective classroom practice. Do you realize how much it talks about classroom practice? That's why we cannot tolerate a student teacher who tries to shy away from going to schools. I'm being very modest. I mean, who doesn't want to go to the classroom? Then it means you have left a big chunk of what makes you a teacher when you go into the field. Here you are supposed to discuss and evaluate. This is how you're going to be assessed. Practice that is displayed through historical and current perspective, as well as a deep understanding of context. As we said, you have context from your theory modules. Then you must apply it when you get to the schools. You must be able to also to discuss and evaluate the efficacy of different strategies for engagement, taking due cognizance of diversity that exists in sites. When you talk about sites, you mean at the school. So in other words, as you engage, you must also be able to say this strategy is efficient. It doesn't mean if it's there in your study guide or in your module, it's perfect. You should be able to evaluate it and say, is this efficient or not? And think of it, I never get emails where students said, you know, I tried this strategy when I was teaching, it didn't work for me, or it worked well for me. These are the conversations that I expected from you as a level 4 student. The last one, I think, the qualifying student should be able to use innovative ways to contribute to the development of effective classroom teaching in ways that are informed by contextual realities, because context will be different. For instance, someone in the deep rural areas in Kandule cannot teach like someone in Joburg in a private school. The realities are different. And also the nature of multicultural schools and classrooms, looking at historical legacies, social diversity, and integration of indigenous knowledge. I saw that a lot from the modules that deal with a history or cultural diversity. So how are you going to assess? You must be able to discuss and evaluate those historical and current social perspective, and they need to engage in collaborative meaning making. Now, what is expected of you? You are expected to participate fully. Hence, some of you are asking, can I do only this week's, or am I supposed to do all the 2 modules that I have registered for? That is non-negotiable. You must participate in the practical visits to the school, but also online. Remember, we are an ODL, an open distance e-learning. So it means when we talk about your classroom, we are talking about the LMS, the learning management system. You must visit as often as possible, because without going there, it's like you have enrolled in a face-to-face university, but you are not attending classes. How are you going to keep yourself abreast of what is happening? How are you going to know if there are changes? How are you going to know that one lesson was not fully explained and now it has been corrected and is on your announcement? You need to go to the LMS to do all the activities that are required for. If there's a video, listen to it. For instance, I might post a video that's talking about how to construct meaningful learning outcomes. Listen to it. It's meant for you. It's your classroom. It's like I'm sitting with you in the classroom and I'm teaching. You need to have a clear understanding of your module. I know some of you won't even listen to this video. You are disadvantaging yourself. Now I'm preaching to the converted, because whoever is listening now, probably you are interested to know what is happening in your module. So you must have a clear understanding of the module. You must adhere to requirements. It breaks our hearts when we have emphasized that the register is very important, because it is a Department of Higher Education and Training requirement, so that when they evaluate our program, they should see evidence that you went to the school. That's the only piece of information that we have that we can be able to show. Remember, they won't come to you to the school and investigate that you have been at that school. But if you have the register, it's stamped, it is signed by the principal and the mentor teacher, it does show that you have been to a school. So without it, we don't mark, because we don't have the evidence. When we are being audited like we are this year, I won't be able to explain if portfolio 50 really represents what you did in the school. And remember, you are submitting at different portals. I'll talk about it later. Complete all activities. There are students that are coming back, they've purchased their scripts, they don't understand why they failed. It's not only by completing that lesson template that you are going to pass, it's the quality of work that you put in. So we need, when we mark, we look at the quality. of the work that you put in. In other words, when I read your lesson plan, I must have a glimpse of what has happened in the classroom. And you must link what you are doing to the theory modules. We have loaded them, but you do have them because at your level, you are doing only the modules that are at your level, which is level 4. What are the assessments for teaching practice level 4? These are the assessments. At first, I didn't want to include the due dates because I want you to go there and check, but I just wanted to be nice. Now, you've got assessment 1. Assessment 1 is only for exam admission. I said we have changed the module. It contributes to exam admission purposes only. It's a very important assessment to submit because without submitting it, you are going to be blocked. You won't be able to submit assessment 2, 3, and 4. You will still get placed in the school. Remember, I told you that these are 2 different systems. You'll get a supervisor, but at the time where you want to submit, you'll be surprised that the system kicks you out. It means you did not submit your assessment 1. It's used to contribute to year mark. It doesn't contribute anymore. But its due date, please check, is Friday, the 17th May at 7 p.m., 19 hours. Some of you will say, I was waiting for midnight. There's no midnight. Our system, as you can realize, is a new system, the Moodle. It has all the institution's modules. So when we book, if there are too many students that are supposed to submit at midnight, it kicks us out and says choose another time so that the system cannot crash. So the times are not what you are used to. Please pay attention. Anyway, to submit at the last day is just a bad practice in general. Assessment 2 is a year mark. Assessment 2 is a year mark, but a very important year mark that contributes 30% to your pass mark. It is due on the 29th of August at 3 p.m. This is a very odd time, at 15 hours. Make sure that you submit days before. Because if you relax and say, I'm going to submit later, by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's closed. And we have no guarantee of extension. Assessment 3 is a summative assessment. It's an exam. It's a portfolio. It contributes 35%. You might be a bit confused and feel that this is not aligned. In your portfolio, if you check page 8 and 9, there's a rubric. We have made this assessment out of 200. Why? When we mark it out of 100, we become so limited with marks. You find that you've done a lot of work, but we give you 3 marks for the whole lesson. So you are going to be very generous with the marks, then convert it to 100%, but the system will only further convert it to 35%. That closes on Thursday, the 29th of August at 19 hours, 7 p.m. Same with assessment 4. Read your tutorial 101 and visit Moodle site and make sure you follow instructions carefully. How should I ensure compliance? For you to be satisfied that you have complied, these are the things that you must have. Assessment 1 needs school information and proof of placement. Proof of placement, as you know, that's what you will get on your email. Don't cut anything from it. Paste it as is. So that because every section have got marks. And then, but now in this case, just make sure that you comply and submit in time so that you are open or you gain admission to submit other assessments. Assessment 2, you need a principal report, mentor report, attendance register, and confirmation letter. The supervision report is going to carry the most weight. I don't want to give you marks, but for you to really pass assessment 2, you must have been supervised. So look for a supervisor. Don't sit and say, nobody called me. I always give this example. When we become a teacher, if they decide that by April, they are all going to give you an increase, and you look at your pay slip, you find that you didn't get an increase. But when you talk to other teachers, they say, no, we are so happy. Yeah, we are going to town. Mine, I'm going to spend it on this and that. Are you going to sit back and say, okay, let me just wait. Maybe in December, they will remember me. You won't. Probably you're going to stand up and want to find out why were you not given that increase. In the same way, you know how much supervision weighs is compulsory for level 4. Go all out and make sure you get a supervisor. Bother the teaching practice coordinators in your province. If they don't answer you, you send to Mangwatu and you copy the coordinators in your province that you're talking to. You can even copy me, but don't send to me and say, I don't have a supervisor. I don't allocate it, because that's an administrative function. I don't have the system to do so. Assessment 3 has 2 declarations. One of the declarations wants you to tick. Some of you just sign it. You won't get marks for it. Remember, it's forming part of all the marks that are making 200 that are going to be converted to a percentage. The register. I can't overemphasize the importance of the register. We even included the template. So I don't see any reason why you leave it out. And I put it in front because I thought maybe you leave it out because it's at the end of the portfolio. I put it in front for you to complete it, and also for markers to see from the beginning whether it's there or not. Because if it's not there, we don't mark. It has grade 1 and 2 lessons and a mentor report. Make sure you have them completed. Refer to the rubric on page 8 and 9. The marks are 200, as I said, so that we can be fair to all the areas that you have completed, but that is going to be converted. And then assessment 4, also the 2 declarations, and then the register, grade 3 and 4 lessons. And remember, here you're going to spend 3 weeks. You are allowed to do assessment 3 for 2 consecutive weeks and do assessment 4 for 3 consecutive weeks. But do not start with assessment 4. Don't start at grade 3 and 4. Start at the lower grade, then do the next one. And when you are done with assessment 3, just load it. And for those who are repeating, I would like to give you special attention. After you have loaded, as long as it's long before due date, you can talk to me and say, ma'am, check if I've included my register and all is in order. I'll look at it and give you a report. That's the extra mile that I'll go to make sure that you don't keep on repeating the same module. We want you to go out there and contribute to South African economy and to your families. Remember that 25 days is compulsory. Please do not say I fell sick at the last minute. The earliest bird catches the fattest worm. We don't know what would happen to us. I can't predict what would happen in May, whether I'll be on sick leave, whether I'll have challenges. But as I still have time, let me push my work as much as I can, do the same. Assessment 3 and assessment 4, we can do them into different blocks, as I said. Submission of assessment 1 is an admission requirement. Without it, you'll waste all the time, go to schools, but after you completed your work, it won't be. The system won't allow you, and there's nothing we can do about it. Supervision is compulsory, and non-compliance may result in failure. I'm saying this because If it's going to contribute to your 30%, it means when you are going to submit your 2 portfolios, you are only working towards 70%. So that will be a disadvantage. Please make sure you are supervised. Attendance register is to be included in assessment 2, 3, and 4. If you don't include it in assessment 2, you'll just lose marks. But in assessment 3, which is portfolio 50, and assessment 4, which is portfolio 51, then we won't mark your portfolio. No register in assessment 3 and 4, we will not mark your script, which is very painful. And if you think we enjoy to see you failing, we don't. Why should I do assessment 1? I'm just going to summarize. I said it's for admission purposes. Also, we are trying to push to make sure that you get a placement letter or confirmation letter before you go to the school. So it's sort of a compliance document. You must know that as soon as you have registered, the first thing you do is to find a school, then go and complete your assessment 1. And from the teaching practice administration, you start completing online. You choose the school. Make sure you have a confirmation letter before you go to school. The system will block further submission. I've spoken about that. I'm emphasizing, should assessment 1 not be submitted. Any other activities that happened in the year will not affect your pass mark as long as your assessment 1, which is for submission, has not been submitted. Requirements is for teaching practice administration, get proof of placement, get school information, and this must all be done online, book online. If you are going to do two different schools, you need to do 2 forms, but when you submit, please write a note on top so that markers cannot miss the other days. The date must correlate with the proof of placement. If there's any challenge that has happened and you are no longer able to utilize the dates that are on your confirmation letter, please go back to the teaching practice coordinators in your province and change the date. Assessment 1 is not an application for placement, please. Others think if you have completed assessment 1, it means you have applied for placement, you are sorted. No, you are not. You also, for assessment 1, you need the school information, mentor and principal signature, and school stamp is critical. It must be there. It is your responsibility to ensure that you find a school as soon as you register. Some of you write emails and say the school is not on the list of when I go online for placement. Do not panic. Talk to teaching practice. They will at the school. They will assist you. Teaching practice office. Make sure you submit this assessment on or before the due date. Please avoid disappointments by complying with all requirements for this module. Not only the assessments, but the module in general. Take your time to read all the tutorials and know what is required, then so that you are able to comply and complete. You are at the critical stage where you are really seeing your first check, you are seeing whatever your dreams are, whether it's a house, a car, you see it. 1 more year is a setback on your plans or what you are going to be blessed with. Recap, we looked on the communication lines. We looked at the module outcomes and assessment criteria. We looked up at the expectations from you as students. We looked at assessments and due dates. Then we detailed assessment 1. I'm no longer going to have a recording specifically for assessment 1, but I'll have one for assessment 2, for portfolio 3, which is assessment 3, and portfolio 4, which is portfolio 51, which is assessment 4. I'm going to close with this from Mark Twain. Open course, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Close quotes. This explains itself. It's very clear. For you to really get ahead, just get started. Don't shelve anything, because you never know what tomorrow holds for you. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm wishing you all the best.